Good morning, children. Welcome back to our social session. In the previous class, we have learned about the different kinds of winds. We classified winds depending upon the directions. So, we have seen planetary winds, monsoon winds, and local winds. And further, these planetary winds, we have divided them into trade winds, easterlies, and westerlies. Today, let us try to understand the difference between weather and climate. Perhaps you might have heard about a cricket match being postponed due to a bad weather. Have you heard about it? Bad weather. You may have had to postpone your own games in the school due to rain or excessive heat, saying that the weather is not suitable. Anytime your PT sir said during your play or games period, isn't it? Whenever the weather is not suitable, he never takes you to the ground. So you might have heard the people saying that the monsoons are on time, or the prices of most fruits go up when there is when they are not in a season, but they come down when they are in the season. You may also have heard the things like the climate in North India is not suitable for me, the climate in South India is suitable for me. These kind of conversations you might have heard. These two words, weather and climate, mostly people use it as a synonyms. Okay, they don't find any difference between these two. They try to use these two synonymous, but very important, these two are the very important concepts in geography. They shape our lives in many ways. These two shape our lives in many ways. They try to impact or affect on the human life, on the survival even. And many people confuse to use the terms weather and climate. You might have heard in the news about the weather report, but not the climate report. So these kind of changes occur, these kind of things happen with most of us. So here in this chapter, now in this topic, we shall understand what is the difference between weather and climate. The mixture of gases and particulates that we call as the atmosphere is not static. It is very dynamic, because gases move from one place to another place very frequent. So this is not static, but this is dynamic, and it moves down, it moves horizontally, it moves in all directions, because gases, we can't say that in which direction they move. As it does, its characteristic also changes. Sometimes it will be warm, and sometimes it may be cooler. Sometimes it may be wet, sometimes it may be dry. So when we describe the condition of the atmosphere for a small period of time, usually about 10 days, it is called as a weather. When the weather can change even within a day also sometimes. But whereas climate is a description of average atmospheric condition of a specified area for a longer time of period. That means, see, weather is for a shorter period of time, climate is for a longer period of time. Then what is expressed for a shorter period of time? When you express the temperature of a place, the pressure of a place, the rainfall of a place for a shorter period of time, it is called as weather. If the same atmospheric variables are explained or expressed for a longer period of time, it becomes the climate of a place. The weather changes even within a day. Morning it was sunny, the weather was sunny, and by afternoon it may be rainy. That's the weather. It's not the climate. Climate is for a average period of time for not less than 30 years. Climatic descriptions are based on decades of atmospheric data. For decade in the sense for not less than 10 years. 10 years is called as a decade. So for 20-30 years data, atmospheric data they take. What is atmospheric data? When it rains, how much it rains, what is the average temperature. These all data is collected for not less than 30 years, and a climate of a place will be decided. Climatic descriptions tell us about what conditions are going to prevail at a given time of a year in that particular area, but not in a specific days. The specific days is prescribed in the weather, but in a year, in what month what happens is called as a climate. This is a rainy season. It is the climate of this country, India. So this is how we describe things in many other ways. So how do we describe this atmosphere then? We measure through the temperature, we measure with the humidity, wind, pressure and precipitation. These all are the atmospheric variables. These all are called as elements of weather. What are they called as? Elements of weather. What are these elements, children? These elements are temperature, okay, humidity, winds, precipitation. These all are the elements of weather. When these are expressed for a shorter period of time, it is called as weather. When these are expressed for a longer period of time, it is called as climate. When the elements of weather are expressed for a longer period, it is climate. When they are expressed for a shorter period, it is called as weather. So these are also the elements of climate and these are also the elements of weather. You have just learned about the pressure and winds in the previous class, how the winds move, isn't it? The air moves from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. That area is called as winds. We also have learned about the pressure. The air exerts some pressure, okay. High pressure areas and low pressure areas we have learned. And in class 8th, I suppose, we have learnt about the temperature of the atmosphere. We had compared the temperature patterns of Panaji, Shimla, Mumbai, Delhi, the places located on the sea coast and the places which are interior we have learned. And we also have learnt why it will be cooler in Shimla and why it will be warm in Chennai. We have learnt these things. So in tomorrow's class, we learn about the humidity and precipitation, children. I hope you have understood the difference between weather and climate in today's class. Thank you, children.